two, and one.
Hi, everyone. This is real estate coach Craig Proctor, and welcome to the Craig Proctor Real Estate Show. Today, my special guest from the San Diego area is David Woodson, a longtime member. David, welcome, and thank you for doing this today.
Thank you, Craig. Happy to be here.
Hey, why don't we start from the beginning? How did you meet me? And let's talk about the transformation in your real estate business since that time.
Sure. Well, Craig, I remember you back when you were at RE/MAX, starting out, because I was in the RE/MAX system way back then. And, I thought, I was working as a one-man show all these years, and realized that, each year it was getting tougher and tougher. And the way I took the leap with the Craig Proctor system is right before COVID. I would say I kept getting information on your system, but I thought I knew better, and I didn't think I needed, help, but I did.
Let's talk about that, because that's interesting. When you say, I thought I knew better, I didn't think I'd help. I mean, you'd been in real estate for a long, long time before you met me. So there is a little bit of that, like when you've been doing something for a long time, you've been an agent for a long time. In a way, you kind of think, I've heard it all. What could this other real estate agent, Craig Proctor, what could he be teaching me that I, don't already know or I'm not already doing? So, how did you take the plunge and first get involved?
Well, what happened is, I always felt that, I was like a top agent out here in my area in San Diego. And, my background, I thought I knew how to do everything. And I didn't, it was hard for me to believe that, you could work less, make more money, take time off. I thought it was a bunch of,
something that sounds good, but not maybe realistic.
Right.
But that's exactly what's happened in your business. You've made a lot more money and you've worked less. So I guess we should address the skepticism that maybe other realtors watching this right now might have. They might feel the same way that you felt, which is, I've been doing this for a long time, or maybe Craig is more of the same. Maybe it's just about working harder, but it's not. What struck you initially as completely different about my approach versus what you were doing?
Well, what happened is I decided, I got an email, and it was from, your company, and they were going to be putting on a half-day seminar in San Diego. James McDonald was going to be hosting it. And I got to the point where what really pushed me into doing this is I started realizing, every year my business was starting to get less and less and less. And, I realized and also saw, which really opened my eyes, is all these real estate offices around me in my area were just closing left and right. You'd go into their offices, it'd be like ghost town, hardly any agents working. And I wanted to, figure out, how are these agents that I'm seeing that are building teams, doing it. So I started realizing.
So I'll just interrupt for 1 sec. So on one hand, you see most agents and a lot of companies struggling and going out of business, leaving the business. But on the other hand, you notice these agents that seem to understand marketing and are able to feed a big team seem to be picking up market share in a bad market and doing better and better and better.
Absolutely. So what I did is before I went to meet James McDonald at the half day, I started, researching and figuring out, how are these agents, selling hundreds of homes, and I'm in the same marketplace. What are they doing that I'm not doing? I want to learn and know about it. So, I started talking to them. I approached some of them, and lo and behold, they're doing the Craig Proctor system. So I went ahead and joined, because I knew that the real estate business has changed so much that I needed to get with it, because I've been doing the things the old-fashioned way, and I haven't been taught. That's how I felt, how to be relevant and still have an impact and be, let's just say, strong in this industry. So what I did is I went ahead and signed up for the seminar. that James was doing. It was a half-day seminar here in San Diego. This was right before COVID. And I went to it, sat there, listened to it, and I had all these agents sitting in the room with me, and I was hoping no one would recognize me because I'm pretty well known here in San Diego. And I thought that they would say, well, what do you need this for? Why are you here? But
you and we were talking about the ego thing before we started our interview here today.
yes,
And it's funny that you say that. So in a way, you wanted help, but in another way, you didn't want to have the other agents see that you were there to try to get help.
oh yeah, I was skeptical.
Mm-hmm.
And during the presentation, I actually didn't sign up for it that afternoon, but I met James, and I knew he told me, hey, Dave, just why don't you consider signing up? You don't have to do it now.
Right.
So I thought about it, and make long story short, I called James later in the week and told him I'm going to come. So I signed up for the super conference in Orange County, and matter of fact, I sat.
Now, was that the first time that you met me when you came to the super conference?
Yes, first time.
And what year would that be?
Oh, gee, gosh, that was probably.
That was just before the pandemic, right?
Yeah,
That was
2020,
yeah,
right
yeah.
there.
That was like just before. Okay, so that was probably, if it was in Anaheim, probably like November of 2019. All right, so you come there now. You get to meet me for 3 days. That conference would have been packed. There would have been like 500, 1,000 people at it. So what happens in your mind at that point when I'm presenting this stuff for 3 days and how it works? You get to meet all the successful people doing it. What was the takeaway from that point?
Well, the takeaway for me that just did it for me is when you had the live session with your agents all throughout United States, Canada. You're on stage with you sharing their stories, and their stories were like mine. And when I saw them, it resonated in me so strong that hey, I could do that. I am no different than they are. And I saw that it inspired me so much that I went ahead.
Well, there's a real connection at that point because you're meeting other real estate agents like yourself. Some of them, struggling, who became very, very successful. Some of them came to me, they were already successful, but working all the time. They had no personal life. So yeah, meeting the other agents definitely connected with you when you heard their before and after stories. Let's hear your before and after story. So, before Craig Proctor, what's your business look like? And what's it look like now?
Well, let's just say before Craig Proctor, I was a one-man show. That's how I was taught, from the beginning, all these years, doing things the old-fashioned way. My problem is I was working, 6-7 days a week, didn't have a life. And, I started, thinking, hey, there's got to be a better way. So I made a great living. I was the #1 agent out here in San Diego for Century 21 for many years. I was their #1 agent out here for Remax in San Diego for many years. And, I was a one-man show. I didn't know how to leverage and market like we're being taught.
So you were making very good money, but you were sacrificing a lot of hours every day, every week to do that.
Yes.
And at a certain point, when your money needs are taken care of, you want to also have more time. So is that happening for you now? You're actually making more money than you were back then, and you have more time, which is what everyone wants to believe, but hardly anyone can believe it. That's what you had trouble, comprehending, believing in the beginning, is that you actually could double or triple or, quadruple your income and work far less.
Right. So let's just say, before Craig Proctor, I was always hitting the ceiling. I just couldn't get over, making more than, like 350, 395,000 a year.
Which is great. I mean, people watching this will be like, people watching this will be saying, well, what's wrong with 395,000? So you couldn't do 4. It was right around the 4 threshold.
I was just capping out. And then I started seeing my business be less and less and less because my market share was being, eaten up by good agents
Right.
on teams that were, dominating the market. So what I did is once I joined the Craig Proctor system, I went ahead and did that. It was life-changing for me. The first year in the Craig Proctor system, I tripled my business. And one of I'd say the most life-changing things that helped me with my business is from the coaching program, which helped me analyze where is my business coming from, how am I marketing to those people, and what really put me over the top is within 6 months, I'm the kind of person that just studied, implemented, and just, I don't, stop until I get it done. So what happened is within the first year of me joining the system, what motivated me was seeing agents on stage during the super conferences getting their awards. When I saw agents getting the Quantum Leap Award, I said, I'm going to do that. That was my goal. And
and for everyone, the Quantum Leap Award is when a realtor that I'm training, that I'm coaching, goes from like X to 4X. It's not an incremental gain. It's like when you double or triple your business in a very short time frame, which is what you did.
So what I did is within the first year of the Craig Proctor system, the next super conference I went to, my coach called me and said, Dave, give me your numbers. And I did. I tripled my business the very first year, and I achieved and received.
That's pretty amazing when you think about that, because you've been a realtor for how many years before you met me?
Oh gosh, I would say probably 26 years.
So for 26 years, you did it a certain way, which basically meant, wake up and work all day for 7 days a week. And then within the first 12 months, you were able to triple your business.
Yes. And, I missed hitting the $1 million mark of gross commission income by $50,000 of commissions that first year.
People are skeptical when they hear things like this. Like, how can this guy been in real estate for 26 years, never made over $400,000 a year, joins Craig Proctor, and within 12 months is just short of $1 million, from 400 to just short of $1 million.
Right.
Right. So where did you take it? That's the first year you were with me. Then what happens after that?
So, after the first year, I joined, let's just say, Platinum, immediately. I did that probably within my first 6 months, which was key because I wanted more and more to learn. And let's just say since then, I've learned how to do direct response marketing, which is key, because what's scary out there is most of the agents out there don't realize, buyers don't need agents anymore. And that's enough.
Well, they believe the buyers believe they don't really need a real estate agent because they believe they can get access to all the houses on the internet. They believe that now that I can get access to the houses on the internet, I also know who has the house listed. So I don't need a buyer agent. I can go directly to the listing agent and save more money that way. So how do you counter that? How do you explain to a buyer how they really do need an agent and how you're going to benefit them?
Well, what's key right now is buyers are out there having bad experiences with agents that can't find them properties. So, they're out there. We've learned how to do direct response marketing, which I never knew how to do. And social media is where it's at. You've got to be seen, heard, and known. And, I grew up farming, open houses. That was my big thing. But with the Craig Proctor system, we've been able to learn, my light in my office. We've been able to learn how to have buyers and sellers come to us. I never thought that was possible. So that was game changing for us. And so we're able to, book and meet VIP buyers, constantly. They're signing up with us. We're charging more. We're learning how to.
So do you show a buyer houses without them first meeting with you and signing a buyer agency agreement?
Used to, but not anymore since we started the system.
So some realtors watching this would say, well, look, wouldn't the buyer say, well, hey, David, if, I can just go work with another agent if you won't show me houses without signing a buyer agency agreement. How do you can't make a buyer sign the buyer agency agreement. How do you use the right language and convince them or compel them to want to be represented and sign the buyer agency agreement?
Well, we show them the benefits
Mhm.
and our guarantees that we do, like our cancellation guarantee. They can cancel at any time if they're unhappy with our service at no cost. We've got the performance guarantees that we're taught to use that other agents aren't even, using or implementing. And so what you want and what we want is we would rather work with a core of motivated buyers and sellers than to try to work with everybody, because it's a better use of our time.
Right. So you've got enough business coming in because of the direct response advertising system that you can pick and choose, and you can choose to work with the best buyers, the most motivated buyers and sellers that will come in and meet with you and sign up before you commit any time to them.
That's correct. Absolutely.
Okay. The marketing started to work so well that in the beginning, you were trying to do all the business yourself because that's how you've been doing it for the prior 26 years.
Yes.
When did you get to the point where you realized, holy cow, I got so much business coming in, there's no possible way that me, one person, can handle all this business?
Well, let's just say I had to change my paradigm, my mindset. When I started with the correct Proctor system, before that, we were taught, everything's secretive. You don't share what you have. You don't share your marketing. I would let business let's just say, float through the cracks, where I should have been learning how to train agents to do what I do and leverage and be able to serve more clients and be able to make, a better living. So that
of course, that's how every business operates outside of real estate. They leverage yourself through people, but you're right. It's not the way real estate is typically done. Usually, you're a one man or one woman show, and, you give up your whole life to it and you work 7 days a week. Who was your very first hire?
My very first hire was my admin. And what I did is I used to have an admin in my office help me with transaction coordinating, office work, but what I learned is I was doing it not the best way. So I learned through the correct Proctor system to hire an admin that helps you with your implementing of your systems ongoing. And, I learned how to hire outside and learn how to hire outside help with transaction coordinating and not having that person do everything, which really changed how my business was.
It really does. David, today at 4 p.m. East Coast time, we're doing our Platinum. Well, Platinum is a higher level of coaching that I offer, generally for agents making $250,000 or more. And in that group, we have agents like David that make over $1 million a year, lots of them. We have agents that make over $1 million a month. So that's like $12 million a year in GCI. Now, of course, some of you will say, well, they have a team. Yes, they have a team. But if you're making $12 million a year, even if you have a team and you had to split the commission, half of 12 is 6. You're still doing pretty good, right?
Right.
But these are the thoughts we have as solo agents. Is, well, I don't want to split the money, but you actually will make more and work less if you do it correctly. So this call we're doing this afternoon, David, is about the very specific steps you have to go through when you're growing your team, how to properly hire them and recruit and train and manage people, because most of us we don't know how to do that, right? So there are very common mistakes that are made by real estate agents when they start to build their business beyond themselves. And I use the word business because it actually is a business when it starts to work without you. Right now, for most of you watching this, you have a job. It's not a great job because you're on call 7 days a week. And the only way you can make more money is to work harder and harder and harder, which for some of you, you can't work harder because you're already working all the hours. So like David, you're looking for a solution to this. David didn't need to come to Craig Proctor. He knew how to make $400,000 a year. That David knew how to do. He didn't know how to make $1 million a year because he would have been doing it, but he knew how to make $400,000 a year. Now, what I'm going to be talking about on our platinum call this afternoon, David, is how, all of us are like just one hire away from greatness.
Yes.
And you've heard that the first lady that I hired, her name was Lindy. So Lindy with an E on the end. And she was a game changer for me. And I often think about how, had I not found her, maybe I'd still be struggling as a solo agent. But I think we're all one great hire away from greatness. And when I hired her and I was able to give her first I delegated the buyers, then I delegated some of the listings. But it, quantum leaped my business. I mean, I went from X to 4X. Many of you know my story. Within 3 years of having my real estate license, I go from as dumb as a pile of rocks, right? In year number 1, I'd never sold anything before. I'd never taken any marketing courses. I knew nothing, right? And that's why I was failing in my first year, because David, I did all the stuff they told me to do. Right. I just did it harder because I was young and I was eager and motivated. So I knocked on more doors and cold called and did open houses and chased FSBOs and expireds. And I believe that first year I did 10, 12 transactions. I made a living, but I hated it.
Right.
Within 3 years of having my license, I became the number 1 RE/MAX agent in the world. And that's how you knew me, because you were with RE/MAX. And it got a lot of attention because how is this guy that's only had his license for 3 years, how does he go from struggling as an agent to being one of the top agents in the world? And that's what I started to teach agents how to do, okay, is this little system that I figured out for my own benefit, realized it has really nothing to do with Craig Proctor. I didn't know that in the beginning, but when I started to share my success with other agents, the fascinating thing for me was any other agent that does what I was doing was starting to see the same success that I was getting. So that's how I got into coaching and mentoring other agents, is just sharing what was working for me with other agents. So it's pretty cool to see that really you've just copied the little Craig Proctor business in your business in San Diego, and now you're having great results. So anybody can do this. I would say, when I say anyone can do this, you have to be open to coaching, and you have to be ready for a better methodology, a better way of doing things. And I guess, if you're a control freak and know-it-all, if your ego is too big and, you think you know it all, you're going to stay where you are. But there's lots of people to learn from inside the Craig Proctor organization. It's not just Craig. The biggest benefit, David, is all of the superstar members that you become really good friends with, that you can call or text or email at any time and compare notes and hang out with people that maybe are a little further along on the curve than you are. And whatever problem you're having today, they've had that problem in the past and they've solved that. All right. So you start to grow the team and you're hiring slowly. What's happening now as you start to grow this team? What are your thoughts at this point?
Well, my thoughts are is I've made, mistakes in hiring in the past since I joined the system. But the key is you learn from your mistakes. You learn to try to find people that want a better life, have an open mind, that are willing to be coached. And that's the key. And the other key is making sure that, you have the support, like your admin is probably going to be key to have the right one. And I've gone through, since I've joined, probably 4 different admin until I found the right one. And boy, does it make a difference.
Yeah, one person can change the franchise for sure. Okay, so now I want everyone to listen up to this. Okay, if you partnered up with David, let's say that you're in the San Diego area, which I understand not all of you are, but if you were in the San Diego area and you're a real estate agent that wants to make more money and also have more time, okay, you want to, freedom, to have real freedom, you have to have money and time. Some of you watching this are making good money, but you don't have any time. Okay, that was David's problem, making $400,000 a year, but tired of working 7 days a week. And when it all depends on you, When you stop, it stops. That's why, you can't go on vacation,
Right.
and it can't get any bigger than you because there's only you. There's no leverage. So you're watching this and you're like, okay, if I was to partner up with David, how would that work? Well, here's how it would work. You're an agent in San Diego. You're inspired by this. You got two options. You can learn from me how to do this like David did. Okay, so he's been at this learning from me for 4 or 5 years. He spent hundreds of thousands of dollars with Craig Proctor learning this, but he's making millions of dollars doing it. So you can do that. Okay, and that, you don't have to be in San Diego. It could be anywhere in the United States or Canada, and you can become a student at Craig Proctor. I know how to make millions of dollars a year. That's one thing I can say that the other coaches can't. I actually did this. If you want to coach, make sure your coach has actually successfully done the thing they're teaching you to do.
Right.
Okay, so that's number one. You got to find a great coach that's done it. Okay, now, if you're in San Diego, you might just want to partner up with David, because this is how sweet this deal is. David runs all the marketing. That means he pays for it and he runs the ads and he's involved. He gets his hands dirty with marketing and advertising. And what he creates, when David wakes up every day, what his focus is creating more listing appointments and buyer appointments than he could possibly go on. He couldn't even go on all the listing and buyer appointments every week. So he needs to partner up with good agents that are coachable. Now, David gives you listing appointments, not leads. This is a major distinction. Okay, every other company, organization, we'll give you leads. No, we're not having you call Zillow leads or anything like that, where people don't answer the phone and don't even know what you're talking about. These are actually qualified appointments. Okay, so the leads come in, the inside sales team calls the leads, qualifies the leads, set up the appointments. Okay, all you have to do is show up with the listing presentation that David will coach you on. And the same with the buyer presentation. So not only does David spend the money to generate actual appointments, not leads, he coaches you. He spends hours and hours and hours every week coaching you. Why? Because the more money you make, the more money he makes. I know every real estate company talks about, we have training, not training like this, and they don't have a system.
Right.
You're going to plug yourself into the Craig Proctor system. David's going to be your coach. And he's going to show you, okay, here's how we do it here. And he's going to make sure that you're coming back with signed listing agreements, not coming back with a story. Oh, well, they really liked you, David, but they went, no. Now, this is how you're going to make more money and work less. Because once you get the listing signed, you're not messing around with taking pictures of the house, or getting keys cut, or getting the key box installed, or banging the sign in the lawn. All of that is done by the administrative team. You would simply be going from listing appointment to listing appointment to buyer appointment to listing appointment. Again, with the focus being, we want you making as much money as possible, because of course, David gets part of that. The more money you make, the more money David makes. Now, if you're interested in exploring this, it's completely confidential. You don't have to worry about, it's completely confidential. You want to reach out to David. And David, what's the best way for a San Diego realtor, or any realtor for that matter, to contact you to verify your story, ask a few questions, and find out for themselves, is this real?
Best way to contact me is either through social media. My website is Woodson, that's WOODSON, realtygroup.com, or call me. My office is here in La Mesa, California. It's very central. It's 20 minutes to every area in San Diego. And my office number, 619-668-0070. And you don't have to struggle. If you're a new agent or experienced agent, take it from me, we're busier than anything, even in the market that we're in. Our business is up this year. A lot of agents' businesses are not, and we're not struggling. And hey, Craig, I just want to show you every day, these are all the leads of buyers and sellers that come to us that I need help with. So the Craig Proctor system will help train you, and you're getting trained by the best in the business. And the system is just amazing.
And the training doesn't cost anything. David's going to train you and coach you. He's paid me a lot of money, put a lot of time into this, and he's got a thriving business.
You have
no downside.
Yeah.
Now, if you're not in San Diego, okay, you can book a call with me if you want to learn how David did this in his business in San Diego. You're in another part of the United States or another part of Canada, and you're like, okay, this interests me. I've got a couple of things for you. Number one, I can teach you how to do what David is doing, to have your own team, to be the rainmaker, to make millions of dollars a year. Even if you're skeptical, you should book a call with me to find out the details. The call costs $0. Don't let skepticism get in the way. Now, if you're thinking, well, I don't really want to be a team leader, I'd like to work on a team, but I don't live in San Diego. I have Craig Proctor brokerages all over the United States and Canada, and I can refer you to the David Woodson in your area. Okay, a top Craig Proctor agent in your area that you could partner up with. Now, to book the call with me, this is very important. You're going to go to proctorcall.com. So my name, proctorcall.com, no space. Just type in proctorcall.com into your browser. You're going to go to my Acuity Day Timer. You can pick a day and a time that works for you. Again, the call is free, completely confidential. There is no downside. It's not some big sales pitch, by the way. We're going to ask you a few questions about what you're doing, and we'll say to you, this is what we got, and this is how it works. And you can say either, yeah, I'm interested in getting more information, or I'm not. David, I think you're pretty glad that you decided to reach out and get some information.
Oh, absolutely. It was life-changing for me.
Yeah. And I want to thank everybody for watching this call, by the way. And I want to thank David for coming on here and sharing this story, because it is an amazing story. And we've got thousands of amazing stories that we can share with you. So thank you so much for watching this. Again, reach out to David. We'll put the comments in the comments below. We'll have David's contact information, and we'll have my contact information where you can book a call with me and my team. So David, thanks again for doing this. Any final words before we wrap it up?
Final words is you don't have to be, seasoned of many years in this business. You could be new in this business. It doesn't matter whether you're new in the business or have been in the business for years. This system will work, and it's life-changing. My only regret is I wish I would have done this sooner.
Better late than never. Yeah, thank you so much, David. You're a great ambassador for the Craig Proctor system. And again, thanks everybody for watching, and we hope to hear from you. Again, proctorcall.com. Information's below. We hope to hear from you soon. Thank you again for watching.
Thank you, Craig.